In this lesson, we're going to be covering what to do against e4, more lines on how to properly attack the kingside, and some other lines where we won't get our normal kingside attack, but we'll still maintain a fine position. To start off, we're going to be covering what to do when white kind of copies our fianchetto setup. We're just going to play our normal system, but a move that you might see here by white is f4. And this isn't the best for our system since we usually want to be the ones pushing our f-pawn. But this is still fine. We can move our knight back, play f6, and after trading off some pieces, we have plans to expand in the center of the board and on the king side. And although we can't execute our usual system, our position still remains pretty strong. Another tricky thing white might try and do in the opening is castle queenside. And we obviously can't do our normal kingside attack against that, so we're just going to adapt by getting that dark squared bishop off of the board and then finishing our setup by castling. And now we have the bishop pair, white's pawn structure is pretty weak, and we still have plans to attack on the queen side with a6 and b5. And we're just going to start a pawn storm and pressure on that side of the board now. But going back to the start, white often likes to try and take full control of the center by playing the move f4. This is fine, we just go d6, and now we have two moves. We can play knight d7 or knight f6, either are fine. If you do play knight f6, white's probably just going to push for e5, you're going to have to move back to d7, and then you can castle. From this position, white has three main moves, bishop e3, bishop d3, and knight e4. If white plays bishop e3, we're just going to push our c-pawn to weaken that e-pawn, and after it takes, we can capture the e-pawn. Now after trading everything off, we have a pretty decent position. In the endgame, we should be winning, our pawn structure is a lot stronger, and all in all, we're a lot better here. Going back to this position though, white can also go for bishop d3, preparing to castle. We can do the same thing as before, just pushing our c-pawn to weaken that e-pawn. We already know what to do if they take, but if they push instead, we can capture, play d5, and then develop our knight. Our opponent will struggle to defend this d4 square, our pieces have numerous attacking squares, and we have the open f-file, which will aid us a lot in exerting tremendous pressure on white's position. And from this situation, if white goes for knight e4, we can just kick the knight and then just play e6. Obviously, we can't use our normal system of attack here, but we can't expect to get our normal system of attack in every single game. This, however, is still a fine position for black, and we should be Bing chilling. Another situation where this system may not work is if white plays bishop e3 and starts immediately pushing pawns towards you once you castle. Now, don't worry, we can play normally from here and then a6 in case you want to start pushing on the queen side. White's kingside attacks typically possess very little potential when they do this, and we shouldn't be too scared of these situations. We can just develop and expand our position fairly easily, whereas white's king is stuck in the center of the board without a safe space to run. And if the castle kingside, their position is already kind of exposed, or if the castle queenside, we can just start pushing our pawns over there. Another situation where the system will not work is if white plays d5. We move back and they go bishop d3 and queen e2 so that they can castle queenside pretty easily. From here, we want to start attacking the queenside as soon as possible, so we can start with c5. White is going to want to start pushing on our king side. We can go queen b6, and then we can actually take this pawn due to this checkmate threat that we have with our queen and our bishop. And although this isn't our typical system, these kind of blunders by white are common when white castles queenside, and we're just comfortably better in this position. Another example of how our queenside's attack should look is this example. When white goes bishop d3, we can push our pawns to the edge of the board, kick that knight, and then bring our queen in. Since our opponent has castled queenside, we can execute a similar system of attack just on the opposite side of the board than we're used to. And this is a very typical idea whenever white castles queenside. But sometimes white does this queen and bishop setup, but they still castle kingside. In this case, we're still aiming for our normal kingside attack, so we're going to play e5. It is common for white to en passant, but that's fine. Just make sure to defend this pawn since white does have a pin here. You can play knight e5 to open for a bishop, and from here you should be good. White's coordination of their pieces is very off. We have many strong attacking ideas. Our main plans are just to play h6 and g5 as soon as possible. Now, going back to our mainline system, in this situation, even though it is most common for white to play d5, some people will capture here, and we can just retake and go for our normal setup. But just like when we played this for the white pieces, our typical system will be much more challenging to play in this scenario. But our position here is still solid, and we're doing fine. Here are just some good developing ideas for you guys to be aware of. Going back to our normal setup though, in this position, we can just play f5 or knight f6. Here's a continuation for knight f6 where we push our f-pawn like normal, white trades off our bishop, and we get a setup here that we're used to. This is our textbook system of attack, and we should be very comfortable here. If, however, you play f5 instead, it's the same basic ideas. White sometimes does go for this knight g5, knight e6 idea, but we've already been over the same thing for the white pieces. We're just going to be up a pawn when it's all over. But besides that, we're sticking with our basic kingside attack, pushing pawns and bringing in our major pieces, and all in all, just creating problems for the white pieces and opening up the white king's position as much as possible. And this here is the dream position for us, and white should be checkmated or completely losing after just a few more moves. And that's all the lines for the black pieces. I know this was much shorter than what we did for the white side, but you should already know how to use this system effectively, and I don't think we need to go over all the same ideas another time. Again, the chest reps exercises will help you guys out a lot, and if you have any questions, just message me and I will set you guys on the right path.